Background of the course. Farrer in 1942 reported that literature is a technique of the arts which creates again the awareness and the soul of a term. It narrates us what has occurred to an individual, what could have occurred to him, what an individual has visualized might occur to him. Anyways, Marxist doctrines have influenced 20th century literary criticism. With respect to Marxism, literature can be rightly put in the superstructure which is an output of the fundamental facts. However, the index of notions that, as it was being instituted by Bate and Kovilakis in 2008, greatly amazed the editors of this publication, creates it obvious that contemporary Marxists tongue modern languages, that they discover expressions only during a broad series of notions obtained from philosophies and shapes of awareness strange to the classics, and also which at this day mark its connection with shared crucial reflection. What's more, with respect to Abrams in 1999, Marxists see literature not as works created in accordance with timeless artistic criteria, but as products of the economic and ideological determinants specific to that era. Over the Truth by Lifshitz in 1938 that Karl Marx owned more imperious measure on his hands than the figuration of a thematic aesthetic notion. The name of this publication, The Philosophy of Art of Karl Marx, might manifest to someone too much. That the denomination isn't in reality unjustified is obvious enough once the broad ground on which it permits Lifshitz to step inside is completely perceived. Anyway, art is a shape of superstructure, and so far, such as all superstructures, on its close autonomy, it is incapable by itself to release main strife within class community, and so far, even with this time, can supply strong pictures of such liberation. In the economic and philosophical manuscripts, Marx appears to view in art a prefiguring of the purified and massive senses of men released from historical isolation, but he urges too that only by a thematic evolution of individual nature will such that a world of subjective human sensuality be free. Flash in 1938 requests what is literature, a reverberation of actuality, a photograph of the thematic universe surrounding the performer, his category, his public layer, not absolutely. Literature is a fictional shape of category awareness. It is also a particular form of class awareness expressing itself by instrumentation of oral pictures. For conditional causes, Roquemur in 2002 clarified that Marx's notions are closely connected to Marxism, a political event that emerged under his impact and that has always supposed and still supposes a worthy connection to his notions. Marxism typically offers a side of his situation that is vastly perceptible without careful scanning by Marxists, anti-Marxists, and even non-Marxists alike, but that I think disorganizes, converts, deforms, and delivers inaccessible his fundamental philosophical insights. According to Mediation, in 2009, contemporary United States literary output is described by what is constructively depicted as the awakening of older shapes, most especially as a number of volunteers have distributed. We have attempted a common recurrence to American naturalism, realism, and the genetic novel. Since its beginning, Roquemur in 2002 clarified that Marxism has routinely confirmed an adamantine connection between Marxism and Marx, based on the communal and controversial notions of Karl Marx. A note in 2003 to restate that Marxist critique examines literary doings as reverberations of the public establishments out of which they are existed. This course, therefore, has many objectives. However, it is recognized by Cooper in 1972 that Marx is interested with the eternal requests, the connection between man and God, between man and man, and also between man and nature. He actually treated with strictly conditional philosophical and public matters. He transmitted as well as strictly the Hegelian, or to some extent the young Hegelian cultured edifice, the emotions of romantic uprising, and the words of complemental frugality. Furthermore, he neglected all three in a various state than he discovered them. Many of the issues which have arisen from the state are pertinent to Marxism, and in specific regions, Marxism itself has participated to them by expansion from its fundamental evaluation in genetic materialism of the received prime classes. However, Marxist notion debates that the root we believe and the root we practice, the universe around us, are completely or broadly shaped by the manner the frugality is arranged. But what has Marxism participated to literary critique, and what does its confrontation with literature in the century of the 20th century for the orientations that Marxist critique might pick in the 21st? Furthermore, these are massive requests by Shimi 2013, too considerable for a shortened paper to reply them precisely would demand to start with some estimation of the state of different Marxisms this present day, what it represents they provide here and there as the condition in which the career of literary critique discovers itself. In core, Marxists think that a measure of literature is not a consequence of divine revelation or clear artistic attempt, but that it emerges out of the frugal and ideological situations surrounding its induction. Therefore, this inceptive course proposes to progress the core disputes of a prolonged investigation of Marxism and shape in the 21st century. However, the shorter research of the project cannot contain the collection of relative readings and itemized inspections of individualized versions and forms that totalize this research. What I will seek in what pursues is to foreground the fundamental basics of a Marxist formalist style for the contemporary situation, as well as classify the stakes of such a crucial research in the text of contemporary debates surrounding shared literary disciplinarity, method, and perusal. Such a distinction of contemporary Marxist formalism obliges certainly to address the presently vibrant scope of modern formalism, which, as I shall debate, stands at terms in polar disagreement to Marxist praxis.